All right, everybody, we're back again here with Erika and Nkansah on the Pederson's Farms podcast to learn some more about where your food comes from, what Erika does with Pederson's and what she thinks about Pederson's, what her story is. I think she's just a beautiful person that we want to introduce you to. Make sure you have a chance to learn from her. And, without further ado, I could ramble on. I'm not going to try to tell you everything there is to know about Erika. We'll let her do it. So, Erika, welcome to the show, by the way. Hi, everybody out there on YouTube. We are also recording this, so it'll be out there in audio format and video format. Erika, tell us a little bit about who you are. I think that story is just really unique and fun. So I'd like everybody to get to hear that about you.
So my name is Erika, obviously. We'll start from where I'm from. So I'm from West Africa. I was born in Ghana. I left when I was probably about 8 years old. And then I moved to Europe, the Netherlands to be exact. And I lived there for a couple of years. And then my dad moved us over, me, my sister, my brother, to the US when I was, I think, in the 7th grade or something.
Oh my gosh. So really quickly, I mean, I've never lived that experience. What was that like? I can't imagine moving to a new country in the 7th grade. Like everybody knows 6th, 7th, 8th, there's a lot of stuff happening in a human's life at that age. What was that like?
Yeah. Well, I had already moved from one country. So I went from Africa to Europe, which I really loved. Learned to speak Dutch and, I was speaking fluently, but not so much anymore because I don't use it.
Right. I spoke Spanish pretty good at one time in my life, and now it's very, very broken. I think I could pick it back up if I was kind of forced into the situation for extended amount of time. But yeah, if you don't use it, you lose it.
That is so true. Yes. Yes. So I still speak a little bit, but not as fluently. So yes, when I was 7th or 8th grade, I moved here. So sometimes when you're in Africa, you have like a different view of America, basically.
I think that's great. I want to hear about that. Like as a African, what do you think? What was the view of America prior to actually being here?
I mean, you watch TV, you learn about like the foods and the music, like rap music, pop music, how people dress, like a lot more different. Snow, just cold weather in general, when I was little, I remember thinking that America, like you would go on the street and there you go, there's money on the trees.
Oh, right.
But I was a little kid, so I really didn't know any.
Well, sure,
anything.
But that is, you still had a thought, a perspective, a picture in your mind what it's like. I think we all have to watch ourselves a little bit in how I have pictures of places I've never been and cultures I've never been involved with that is just dreamed up. It's not real. It's not my actual experience. It's only what I'm guessing about from whatever I might see on social media or learn from talking to somebody. So I think
television,
sure,
news.
We all have to kind of audit our thought processes through that lens. Just like, okay, cool. Do I really know what I'm thinking here? Or, somebody said once, don't always believe everything you think,
Yeah. Yeah. That's why, like, for me, I think it's really important to get to know people from all walks of life, like all cultures. I love learning about different cultures, different types of cuisine, and, just getting to know people, making friends from all walks of life. So, yeah.
Okay. So when you came to America from Europe, what part of America did you land
I'm in Michigan.
Michigan. There we go. Okay. So, hey, everybody up north, that's why you mentioned snow.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yes. Last week we had I think 11 inches or so. Yeah. Yeah. And then I work about 40 minutes from my house on a dry day. Let's just say I didn't make it to work that day.
Right. Well, I'm telling you, in Texas, which is where I'm at, for those of you that don't know, we had like an inch of snow and schools shut down for 2 days. Right. I mean, that's the difference.
You guys are totally not used to that at all.
Totally. And, it's just like we had a kind of a major winter storm last year. And so that's really fresh in everybody's memory that might happen again. And it won't happen.
You don't use salt on the road, right?
No, we don't have the equipment or the salt.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not prepared for winter
Yeah.
weather like northern states are. You go to Colorado, Michigan, I don't know, just name any of them that sure deal with a lot of that precipitation, snow, winter weather, cold temperatures. Well, that's their life. They're prepared for it. We're just not here, you know.
Yeah. I am not a big fan of the cold. I can tell you that. It doesn't matter how long it's been. I do not like being cold, and I still get like anxiety about driving in the snow. So like,
Have you ever
yeah.
like spun out and wrecked?
Oh gosh, you should see me when I drive. I'm like so anxious when it's snowing, when I have to drive to work. I have to like mentally prepare, and I grip the steering wheel just like this.
Yeah. Well, you're stressed when you
Yeah.
get to work, even like my shoulders will be sore, right? Because I'm like
Exactly.
so
Yeah. You're
stressed
like
out and
happy to
scared.
make it. Yeah, I'm happy to make it to work. Then I have to think about the drive home. It's like it's like never ending.
Okay. So you're mentioning work. Now, I know you from Instagram and social media and the things you do in that realm. But what do you must do something else. What is that?
So growing up, I always wanted to get into medicine. Like my whole life, I wanted to be a pediatrician. I wanted to be a pediatric surgeon actually when I was younger. Yeah. So I started off college like pre-med,
Well,
and then
time
like
out.
after a
Wait a second.
semester,
Why specifically pediatric surgeon? Like,
I love kids. I just love
okay,
kids.
but
I
like
just wanted
you didn't have a surgery as a kid and think, wow, that
no,
changed my
I just
life. And
really just wanted to be able to help children that, I'm like passionate about kids. So
do you
yeah.
have kids?
I have one daughter.
All
Yeah.
right. Well,
Ava.
congratulations.
Yeah. She's 6 years old. She's very sassy and strong willed.
Imagine
And loves
that.
to cook.
Yeah, right, right. All
Yeah.
right, great. So, anyways, I cut you off.
It's
You
okay.
wanted to be a pediatric surgeon. What are you actually? A
So I
pediatric.
am a nurse. I'm an OB nurse. So I still work with newborns, but I also work with their moms too. So usually after the patient delivers in the labor and delivery, after 2 hours they come over to our side and they stay there till they go home. So there's like a lot of educating and stuff involved with being a nurse on an OB floor, because a lot of them, well, some of our patients don't know how to take care of their baby if it's their first
Well,
baby. So
sure.
yeah,
I mean, I've been there. Our first baby, we're like, yeah. Oh, what do we do? You know, I mean,
might as well take it home.
there's so
Yeah.
much new stuff happening. It's changing a diaper. It's breastfeeding. It's all the different stuff that comes along with thinking about, taking care of this now new life. So, hey, big clap for you. Big thank you. Really, I think the nurses and the people like our health care community is so underappreciated. Maybe they're more appreciated now after COVID has came along and really shined the light on a group of people that have to go right into the fire without a choice. So,
Yeah.
really, thank you for that.
Yeah. It was a very anxious time for me when it begun. So I'm a lot better now.
Right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit why. Why was it making you anxious? And see, this conversation is for the listeners to get to know you, and eventually we'll come around to how do you like Pederson's products, and we work together a little bit in those things. But I'm really curious. Like, I think other people have probably been scared by COVID too. What scared you about it?
Um, well, first we didn't really know much about it, right? You just know that there's this new like virus that's like deadly, basically. That's what we were seeing all over TV. The hospitals were packed. We were afraid to go to work because we didn't know if we were going to be exposed to it or not and like bring it back home to our family. So for me, that's where my anxiety was like coming from. Just like I don't want to get sick. I don't want to die. I don't want to bring it home. I don't want to bring anything home to like my 6-year-old daughter. Well, at the time she was 4, but yeah, to my daughter, to my husband, or just in general. Just we were all like just feeling really, really stressed. Yeah. But gradually, once we started knowing more about COVID and how to kind of protect ourselves better, I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, it's time always helps a little bit because you feel like, okay, now I've experienced the reality of this. When it's just new, nobody knows the answer, everybody's scrambling. You can hear, the worst side of the equation is immediate death. The other side is it doesn't matter why are you even scared, right? So it's such a frantic kind of
Yeah.
mind space.
But we also kind of know what we see in the hospital. So it's different from someone who's outside of the hospital versus someone who works with and is inside the hospitals like daily. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. All right. So in my mind, it's just spinning right now. I think you mentioned anxiety. Does that tie to your food and cooking and passion for
Yes,
that?
that
Okay,
definitely
let's
ties into
explore that a little bit.
that ties into me starting Whole 30.
Yeah. All right. Good.
Just like just having anxiety, having like joint pain, muscle pain, trying to figure out what was going on with me health wise. Being like I was like super restless, and after I had my daughter, just not figuring out what was going on with me. I went through the doctor,
Do
had
you
all
think
this
that was
testing done.
postpartum stuff?
I'm sorry.
Postpartum depression
I didn't have that. No,
no.
I didn't have that. Yeah. Just in general, I think I was just like really anxious about being a new mom, and I wasn't sleeping well, and I was sleeping with my baby in the bed where, I tell people not to do that. It was a lot easier said than done. So I was just like highly anxious about that. And that just kind of spiraled a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I
So
mean, you're not telling a story that's all that unique. I mean, it is to you, but I know I didn't experience it from a female perspective, but from a male perspective, I'm still like there's just nerves in having a child now and anxiety and the truth of how much food and diet affects that is so important. It's a truth that needs to be talked about as much as possible. And this is kind of a great opportunity for us to do that. So you dove into Whole 30. What did you learn?
so I did my first 430 in 2018 after trying to figure everything out. When I did my first set or reset, I felt so good. Basically, everything that I was feeling was kind of like going away. I had more energy, less anxious. My joint pain went away, so that was a plus. And I was eating better. I was staying out of the restaurants most of the time. And also, I found the whole 30 community. And they're super great and super supportive. So
Yes, that is so good. And I've heard, I think it's worth mentioning, or I'm curious your thoughts about this. Well, is that just a placebo effect? Like you've changed something now in your life, and so all these things get fixed. What would you say to somebody that says, I'm not sure that you have to do a Whole 30? That's a mental thing.
I mean, that's just something, each person has to kind of just figure that out for themselves. So I researched Whole 30 before I actually went for it. I was like mentally ready to like make a change in my life. I don't feel like it's like a placebo effect at all, because whenever I eat the foods that I stop eating, they come like my symptoms come back. So I don't think it is, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I love to eat like pizza sometimes, and I have a big thing with dairy. My body does not like dairy at all. I'll eat pizza, but basically when I eat pizza, I know what's going to happen. My joints are going to hurt. I'm going to feel kind of like my stomach's going to hurt. So I kind of know, what happens when I do it. So I just do it with caution.
Sure. I mean, I think that's a great insight for those people out there trying to figure it out. We all have to figure it out ourselves. There's no perfect answer for everybody. It's different for everybody. But it doesn't mean you can't have a slice of pizza. I mean, I think Melissa puts it that way a lot. Just, hey, it's food freedom. Now you understand how your body is going to react to these changes.
Yeah. Yeah. And is it worth it? Sometimes it is.
Right, right. Oh my gosh,
Sometimes
that's
not
so
so
true.
much.
Sometimes not so much. I'm doing this
Yeah.
thing called 75 hard. So I haven't drank any alcohol for now uh, going 75 days. I started in late December. It's 2 workouts a day. It's drink a gallon of water a day. It's read 10 pages of a book. Anyways, I'm learning so much about, wow. I mean, Whole 30 cuts out alcohol too. And I've done a couple Whole 30s, but they were just for 30 days. And I think I focused more on the food than realizing the alcohol had a huge effect on me, right? It's not that I drink a lot, but just a couple glasses of wine at night or on the weekends watching the game, drinking some beer. I don't miss it that much. I think I feel a little better. Not
Yeah. Yeah, I
with
think
that.
that's how it is with like sugar. You know how she talks about, the sugar dragon. Like when I did my first Whole 30, nothing, I was not, cutting off sugar. And then like when you did the reintroduction, like like anything that was sweet tasted like extra sweet to me. Yeah. So definitely.
I was Melissa was on the podcast. She was actually our very first guest.
Yeah, I remember. I heard that was a good interview. Yeah.
We talked a little bit about how once you get off sugar, almonds are sweet, strawberries are very sweet. You realize, wow, a lot of this food is naturally in its just natural, fresh state, very sweet
Yeah. Yeah.
when you don't have the cover up of sugar in every single everything you eat.
I think that, like, I don't know, people are used to having a lot of sugar in everything, basically. So, yeah, I think that's the number one struggle for most people when they want to do Whole 30, giving up sugar and alcohol. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your social media presence and how you got started doing that and what your goal is. If you have a goal, uh, let's tell everybody where to go learn some more about you or follow you or pay attention and be a part of your journey.
So I started my blog in 2016, and when I started it, it didn't. I was just creating recipes that were like I was making bread, I was making like baking cakes, like nothing to do with Whole 30 whatsoever. And the blog was actually started by my husband. He set it up for me, and he was just like, "Just go for it. I think you're a great cook. I think you should just do it." So I went in and I did it. But after I did my first Whole 30, I turned my blog to focus mostly on Whole 30 paleo based foods and recipes. It's called thisafricancooks.com. And when you go on there, you'll find Whole 30 recipes. You'll find some old recipes that are more food freedom, and then a lot of paleo recipes too. And now with the new plant-based Whole 30, I'm going to be putting some of those up too.
Oh,
So
awesome. So you're doing some plant-based. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts about plant-based Whole 30. What is the purpose of it? Is it to not exclude the community that is staying away from meat? Talk to me a
I
little
mean,
bit about
there are
that.
some people that are plant-based, and I know that Whole 30 used to have they have like a in the book a part about and on the website a part having to do with plant-based eating. But I know they just rolled this one out, which is like a completely different program from the original Whole 30. And I believe you're not supposed to combine the two. Like I know somebody asked me before, like, can you do plant-based and Whole 30 together? You're not supposed to because they're two different programs.
Okay. See, that's news to me. Like I've seen it rolled out. I've heard a little chatter, but I don't understand it. I've not done one. So there you go. I haven't experienced it. And so that's cool. I'm glad we got to share that. Like,
Yeah, I always wanted to try like a plant-based diet. And I know my father-in-law just became vegan,
oh yeah.
and then yeah. So
So what was
I have
his
some friends who are
reasoning?
vegan. I'm sorry.
What was his reasoning for doing that?
Well, actually, he got remarried, and his wife has been vegan for like 19 years. So
Oh,
yeah,
great. I mean,
he was a
so
hunter too. He used to hunt deer and stuff. Yeah, so that's different, right?
that is totally, it's totally just interesting.
Yeah.
And also beautiful. Like he married this lady and now he's just living according to her wishes and standards and seeing how that works for him. I think it's true for a lot of us in life. Like as you move along, you will find out some of those things that are really just turn out to being part of who you are.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right, great. So everybody go check out the plant-based Whole 30. It's a new thing. Erika's going to be posting some recipes that
Yes.
fall within that program on her
My
Instagram,
Instagram and on my
blog.
website. Yeah.
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 By the
Yeah.
way, high five to your husband. Like sometimes don't we need a little push off the ledge?
Oh my
You
gosh,
know?
he told me to do this podcast. He said, "Go for it." He's
Yeah.
always pushing me to do better. He really is. I'm like so thankful for that because I know like sometimes you have people in your lives that are not always supportive. You may have like some crazy dreams. You may have, but he's always telling me, he always wants to push me. So I needed that in my life, actually. So,
Well,
yeah,
see, y'all make a good couple.
I think so. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I think it's fair to say you were nervous. It's kind of, you're being honest. I was nervous about doing the podcast. I needed somebody to kind of talk me into it. I've been chasing you for a while to get you on here, I mean,
And
you're
then I got
busy.
COVID.
Yeah, you're busy. It's understandable. I don't always get a guest just day one. They've got lives to live and businesses to run. I'm so proud to have you on here, though, and share this, because I know from watching your content, from working with you, just from talking to you, you're just like a great spirit. It's just, you're a good person to be paying attention to. And I would advise anybody that listens to this episode, go follow Erika, pay attention to the things she's up to, because I know they're from her heart and come from a genuine good place.
Yeah. I enjoy like creating recipes that other people enjoy. I love to like invite people over to my house and like have them eat my food. I enjoy watching people like eat my food, and I love the experience. Like, so that's,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
One of the guys I work with, his name's Ben Warren. He's actually going to be on the podcast. He helps us with our marketing, our retail digital marketing piece of our business. He did a Whole30 this January. It was his first one. And a big part of his experience is he wants his food, even if it's Whole30, I say even if, when it's Whole30, to be exciting to his family, right? Because he cooks most of the meals for his family. So what I think you and him would have that similar piece of the pie you really like, which is watching other people enjoy the meal you prepared. That's a really good feeling for you.
And then surprising them that it's actually Whole30, because I think a lot of people don't even know what Whole30 is. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Why are humans that way? Skeptical immediately. As soon as you say it's something, it's a change, it's different. No, I don't like that.
I was one of those. So I came in like, that was me. It took me like 2 years to actually take a leap. Because someone else told me about Whole30. It was like 2 years prior. But yeah, I was like, oh no, I can't eat what? No. And then after looking, at the different, health wise, that it made more sense to me. So
sure. Well, see, I think your personality is analytical in that way. Like you want to have, see, I'm different. Like Whole30, sure, let's try it. I mean, it didn't take me 2 seconds. Okay, cool. But that's kind of what's great about humanity, is we're different. And it's kind of sad too, because we all don't necessarily allow that enough. I think it's like, hey, we're just different. And that's kind of the best part of it, right? We don't all have to think about every political issue the same way. It's fine. We're different. We have different experiences, opinions, all that stuff. And that's what makes it great, actually.
I think that's what makes the world unique, right? All the diversity and the different ethnicities and cultures and all of that. And I think it's important to like learn about different cultures and places.
And it takes work to do that. You can't do that without trying. You have to kind of try to do that. So, hey, if you're listening, folks, that's a yeehaw. Seriously, in today's world, you should spend time. You have to make a conscious effort to learn about other people, other cultures, other thought, viewpoints. My wife's on me pretty hard because sometimes I don't listen to both sides enough. I need to listen to both sides more. And she pushes me in that way, just like your husband might push you to do a podcast.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, just out of curiosity, and market research, what are a couple items you wish Pederson's made that we don't? Like in your diet, is there a product you wish you had and it's hard to find?
I don't know if it's so much hard to find, but I think you don't make any jerky, right? You don't. I haven't seen any jerky. I think that'd be a great thing to make. And the reason why I say that is because, when I work long hours in the hospital and I'm on Whole30, there's not a lot of snacks I can actually have. So I like to pack things like that, like jerky and like ready to go foods, So I think that's something that you have really good products. Like I love the taste of that ground beef, and my daughter loves that bacon.
Good, good. Bacon is just luckily good on everything and easy to sell. So in my career, I started out selling bacon, and you don't even really have to sell bacon. You just have to say, I have bacon, and people buy, instead of like really, I think it comes down to also, we talk about our attributes. Our products are not cheap. I mean, it takes money to do the things we do and to give the animals room to roam, all this different, just kind of call outs that go along with our products ultimately cost us a little more money. So we need to tell that story and make sure people value that. And not everybody will, and that's okay. But the people who do will. And then we're in the community together.
Yeah, I have like I'm one of those people like I always tell people like I know I spend like I go shopping, I go to Whole Foods, I'll go to like Trader Joe's. I go to different places to shop. And oftentimes I think I spend a lot of money on groceries, which I don't mind because I think it's more important what goes into my body than what I look like what I'm wearing or so I spend most of my money on food, I would tell you that. High quality foods. And I think it's worth the money. So
That is, I think, a perspective shared by a lot of people, me included. I don't dress well, I mean, to the nines or anything, but I do try to eat quality food. I do try to make quality food. I have another question I want to ask you. If you could tell our audience one thing, what would it be? One thing about your journey, front of mind thing for you right now today, like just in your life, something that's been really helpful to you. I don't know anything, like as we're kind of bringing this to a close, what's one thing you want somebody listening to just know?
um when it comes to your health, you just have to look outside of the meds and all of that, and just kind of look at what is going into your body because whatever goes into your body, you'll have some kind of result from it. If that makes sense, you know.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Erika, I appreciate you so much for being on the show, working with us, being who you are. And I can't wait for people to hear this episode, get to know you, go check out. We're going to put all of your links to your blog, Instagram, etc. in the show notes. So people, if they're listening to it on audio, they can check it out. If they're watching on YouTube, they can look in the description, go learn more about you. Thank you so much. Tell your husband,
Thank
big high
you.
five from the cowboy in Texas
Thank
for
you.
getting you to come on the podcast, and stay warm.
I'll try. All right. Have a good day.
Bye. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.